Hey everyone, I'm Aliash and today I'm going to present to you the One Home Traffic Monitor. Everyone that is using KNX is also using ETS diagnostics to see the traffic on the bus, to diagnose issues, etc. But sometimes this is not the best tool. You cannot see the history of the traffic. It's sometimes hard to know where the traffic comes from, if it's coming from within a third-party server, etc. This is why we have added Traffic Monitor into the One Home dashboard so that you can always see live traffic and also the history. For example, when the customer comes and asks what happened yesterday at 5 p.m., why did the blinds open up? You can go there and see, okay, this has come from a push button, or this has been triggered by a mobile app user or an automation. We are again in the One Home dashboard where we see different kinds of devices across different kinds of rooms. So on the left side, under the Insight section, we have a traffic monitor. We can click on it. We can now see that we have two types of monitors. We have the KNX monitor, which focuses solely on the KNX traffic. And we also have the system monitor, which can also see the KNX traffic, but can also see the changes of the devices that have been changed, as well as who requested the change, where does it come from, for example, from automation or from a mobile app. Now, if we first look at the KNX monitor, let's go under the live monitor. As you can see, the live monitor already started automatically, and now we can see the traffic coming from the bus. We can see the group address, we can see on which devices, if you have devices imported into the One Home, they are used, and we can see the values. On the first try, of course, if you haven't yet uploaded the ETS file, you can upload it here so that we can get the data about the group addresses, which data points are available, etc. And now we can see the traffic here. We can also search by a group address, for example, 11221, we can see it's here. We can add even like more filters to filter based on a specific device. Let's say if we have a thermostat, we could add it here and we would only see the telegrams from a specific thermostat coming in. And of course, we can pause, we can start, we can clear, and we can also send data directly to KNX bus. For example, if we send a telegram for read and we use a group address 112, because that's a kitchen sink light status group address, and we do send, we can see, if I also pause the traffic, we can see that we got a response, which is the light is off. We can see we have requested it here, and we also see the response. We can also write to change the device. So if I clear this again, and we use the group address 1/1/1, and we do a write, and let's send on, and let me start the monitor again. We can now see that we have now triggered the write, and the write was here, and we also get a response back. So here is the on-off status that has changed on 112. So that's quickly about the KNX monitor, the live mode, but you can always switch to history. And in history, you can see history for many weeks and potentially months in the past, and can select a range, and you can select a filter for a specific device, and you can see, for example, 1/1/2, add, search, and now we see this traffic that we have sent on the bus in this period. So whenever you have to go back for yesterday, for example, what happened at a certain time, you can go and see here which telegrams were flying on the KNX bus. But even better than the KNX monitor is our One Home system monitor. Let's look at that. Let me close this and let's go to the system monitor. So the One Home system monitor, let's go the live mode, and there is traffic already running in, has more options for it. By default, you can see all the devices in One Home and how they change. So we see that temperature in Bob's room changed to 24 degrees, and we can see this value here. We can also toggle the KNX traffic here. So we can see that here the temperature is coming in, and then we are updating the device, etc., etc. We can also again send the KNX traffic here. Also, another thing that's very interesting is we can have the show change requests. What I will do is I will use the One Home mobile app to change a specific light. To just track this specific light, we can go under the add and go, for example, kitchen and the sink light. Okay, let me close this. And now, if I start the monitor and let me go to the One Home app, I can now turn off the sink light. And what we have seen is that here the sink light request came from the mobile app by me. And I see that after that the light changes. So this way we can easily diagnose when we do certain action, did it go through, what happened. We can also do the KNX. And because we have added a filter for a kitchen sink light, we can only see the group addresses that are actually connected to this kitchen sink light, so it's easier to view what traffic was going through. And we can now see that when we requested the on-off set to off, it was sent as a KNX telegram on the bus. Then we received the status, and the status also changed on the device itself. So the same thing is here. We can also go to history, where we can go and perform a search for this light. We can select a time range that includes now, like this, and do search. And now we can see the on-off has changed. And we can also show change requests. Let's do search, and now we see that we have requested change here. So this is a very nice way to figure out why certain actions happened in the system. Oftentimes customers come and ask about why did certain action happen in the home, why these blinds go up yesterday at 5 p.m. We can very easily now go and check, did this request come from KNX, KNX push button, KNX weather station, or did it come from One Home Automation, One Home mobile app, or even Matter compatible app like Apple Home. This way you can always know what is going on, and now you can always explain to your customer why something happened. It's not just, it just happened and we don't know why. Now you always know. All this data is being stored solely on the device in your project. And there is another great thing that you can do with this data. You can show it on custom graphs. And for that, watch the next video.